The main purpose of this nuclear test is to show the resentment of our people and armies of the United States' hostile actions that are no better than robbery. Our nuclear test is a fair self-defensive action which does not contravene any international law.
The underground blast took place at a remote location in the northeastern part of the country. It was the communist regime's third nuclear test since 2006. Seismic readings in South Korea suggested this device was smaller than those used earlier, but it packed a more explosive punch. The test came just weeks after a UN Security Council vote imposing additional sanctions against North Korea. That UN action followed North Korea's launch of a satellite in December. The U.S. and others had warned that the rocket could also be used to carry nuclear weapons. Today's nuclear test sent the UN Security Council back into emergency meetings to discuss yet more sanctions. U.S. Ambassador Susan Rice.
The actions of North Korea are a threat to regional peace and security, international peace and security, and they are not acceptable. They will not be tolerated, and they will be met with North Korea's increasing isolation and pressure under United Nations sanctions.
In Washington, a State Department official confirmed that Pyongyang had informed the U.S. of its intention to test a nuclear device, but had given no date. Other nations joined in a wave of condemnation, including the Russian foreign minister who was in South Africa.
From what we have heard today, Pyongyang violated its commitments and deserves condemnation because it ignored the norms of international laws.
Even China, the North's lone major ally, voiced its, quote, staunch opposition. It urged North Korea to return to six-party talks on its nuclear program, stalled since 2008. But Pyongyang has continued its nuclear work despite international pressure. And with today's test, the country's young leader, Kim Jong-un, directly challenged several other new leaders in neighboring nations, including South Korea, Japan, and China. Back in Washington, outgoing Defense Secretary Leon Panetta warned that those countries and the U.S. will have to contend with, quote, rogue states for some time.
We just saw what North Korea has done in these last few weeks, a missile test and now a nuclear test. They represent a serious threat to the United States of America. And we've got to be prepared to deal with that.
North Korea's own public statements insisted today's test was only a first response. It said there would be additional actions to come, but gave no specifics. And I'm joined by Ambassador Charles Jack Pritchard, former U.S. Special Envoy.